Hey, how's it going? It's Craig. I'm out in the garage and today we've got a bag of faulty stuff I bought on eBay. Let's take a look. Okay, so I bought 3 items. As you can see, this is a DHL shipper bag and they feel like they got bubble wrap on them, but for the 3 items that I've got in here, I would expect more than bubble wrap to be in there. A box would be nice, but I paid £6 in postage and £12 each for 2 of the items, and I think about £4 for the other items. So let's open it up on the bench and see what we've got inside, and then we can go from there, see if we can fix them, get them up and running. Cool. Okay, so I think they might have just survived with that bubble wrap on them, but it's a bit of dodgy packaging. I wish they put them in a box or something, because you don't know what damage that's caused while they've been in shipping. Okay, so we'll take a look through these 3 items now, but 2 Nest hubs. They're the Nest Home hubs, Google Home hubs. I don't know which one we're going to call them, but they're basically the Google Home, but with a screen on it. So one of them is definitely meant to be working, but without sound, and the other one is not meant to be working at all. Even if I could take the speakers and the system out of the one and put it into the other, get the sound working, that'll be a great fix, and I can just have one working system which you can use in the bedroom. But I didn't realise that these need a specific power supply, and they didn't come with power supplies. I've looked online since and had to look on eBay and things like that, and those power supplies are pretty expensive. So selling those units on their own was a smart move from the seller, so they probably made the same amount that they did for a unit on its own as they did for the power supply. They're selling for like 12, 13 quid just for the power supply. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig around in a box of cables I got here, find a power supply which is around the right voltage. I think it's meant to be about 14 volts. If I can find a 14 volt power supply and an end connector that fits, then I'll wire that up and we'll get a working power supply for it as well. So let's open them up, see what we can do, or let's try and power them up first of all, see what they do, and then we'll go from there. Cool. Okay, so I've been in my junk cables and I've pulled out 2 power supplies. So this one is a 12 volt 1.5 amp with some LEDs attached to the end in a really dodgy way with a bit of heat shrink on there. And this one is a 5 volt power supply, but it's got the right connector on there. So that's what we're going to be using. It fits in the back of here quite nicely, and we're going to use this as our connector with the 12 volt power supply. So the system should be using a 14 volt. But I haven't got a 14 volt in my tub, and basically I think the 12 volts should power it. So next thing I need to do is test out these 2 power supplies. I'll get my multimeter, we'll switch this on and we'll test out these 2 power supplies, make sure the connector's working on the one and that the other one is giving off a decent 12 volts. So let's get testing and we'll come back in a sec. Okay, so do not try this at home. That was a bit of a twist and tape job. Not recommended. I will be soldering it later if everything works, but we're going to test the voltage on this now just to make sure we're getting 12 volts through, and 12.03. Yeah, I'm happy with 12.03. I don't know whether it's going to be enough for these systems, but hopefully it will. We'll test it out, see what we get on either of these systems. I know one of them's meant to power up and one of them's meant to be totally dead. Okay, so let's test this one out. These systems have a rocker switch at the top, which is to mute the microphone, and a volume button on the side, but there's no power buttons or anything else on this that I can see. So we're just going to put the cable in and hopefully see if there's any reaction to the cable and the voltage going into it, but I don't know what to expect on these systems at the moment. Okay, this one's pretty dead, nothing much coming through it. I can see on the sticker this one does say faulty dead unit. The other one I think says something like speaker fault, so this one is faulty unit. That one is speaker fault, so yeah, maybe we'll get some power out of that one instead. So yeah, we'll put this one aside and maybe we can use that for spares later on. But let's try the other unit, see what we get out of that one. Amazing, it's powering up, so let's leave that boot a second. Speaker works on that to me. It's a bit crackly by the sound of it. Somebody's obviously blown the speaker.
Welcome to Google Home. To get started, download the Google Home app on a phone or tablet.
Oh my god, that's couple of seconds and that one's up and running. So the speaker did crack a little bit when it was speaking, but the speaker could be faulty, could be ripped or broken. But worst case scenario, I could always take the speaker from this one and put it in there and we're up and running. But let's play around with both of them. Let's not just take this one as working. Let's get the stickers off. Show you it's working. Amazing. So we've got one working Google Nest Hub. So we've got the Wi-Fi can connect to it. We can change. Let's have a play around with it. See what we can do in the system settings. Not a lot. Speaker. Yeah, and that one definitely said IT 13882, and there was a sticker underneath this sticker. Can I get it to peel off? No, unit only. Da -da -da. Speaker faulty. So that speaker's, as I said, we haven't tested it properly yet. That's definitely working. Okay, so one semi-working unit. I'll go through the app and things, set that one up in a bit. But at the moment, I'm pretty chuffed that I've got one up and running straight away. This one, we're going to take apart, I think. We're going to have to take this one apart, see what the issue is. Obviously, something's gone in there, whether it's a fuse or anything else. We're going to have to take this one apart and see if we can get it up and running. But 1 out of 2 so far, not bad, and that's just faulty. But let me go through and set this one up on the Nest Hub, and then we'll see what the sound quality's like when it's up and running. Cool. Okay, bit crackly. Keep skipping tracks so we don't get monetized. Okay, that sounds a bit horrible, doesn't it? Okay, so the sound is a bit bad, but it's not. That's just a broken speaker, a ripped speaker by the look of it. I don't have to get back out of anything on this. Okay, play royalty-free music on Spotify.
Okay, here's the album Royalty-Free Music, Corporate Music, Music for Business and Presentations, Volume 2 on Spotify.
Bet this is awesome. Let's play a bit of Pixel Game Squad, see what they sound like with a blown speaker.
Spur of the moment game hunting right now. Ricky just texted me. He's like, dude, Retro Games Plus just posted a picture of a bunch of Super Nintendo games they got. And I was like, Ricky, you have to go with me to go look at the games. So we're going to go look for some Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. And I was dead. Hey, that's your kid, bro. Maverick.
Cool.
We collect everything. Yes, we collect games 1,000 times. We just bought like another 20 over there. I'm buying like 15. But this is the kind of stuff.
Cool. So YouTube and everything's running fine here. It's a little bit slow, but I've not done any updates or anything on there yet. But that speaker's definitely gone. So we're going to need to open this one up. I'm guessing we've got to peel this back, have a look inside, have a look at that speaker. What I might do is open them both up. Obviously, we could change the speaker out on this one. I'll see if I can get a replacement rather than butcher this one and take this one from here. But I wouldn't mind getting this one up and running as well. See if we can get a bit of power out of that one. So once I've got this one open, I'll use this one as a bit of a reference to see where I'm getting voltage, and then I can measure on that one to see what's happening, and then we can go from there. I'll solder this properly and put some heat shrink and everything on there, so it's not going to catch my house on fire when I'm using it. So if anyone is looking for the replacement power supply, you can hook up a 12 volt power supply to one of these, and they work quite nicely. Okay, so I'm back, and I plugged it back in. Everything's working on this one again. Obviously the sound's still going to be bad. I need to redo that. I'll do that in a bit. But I've left it a couple of days and I've been away and I've had a look on YouTube to see if I can find anything, and it isn't much information around these. Can I turn my bedroom light off? Here we go, my bedroom light was on. There isn't much on the Google Nest or Nest Hub ones. So this is the first edition. They did a second edition, and I think they've done a max since. So these are a couple versions old. There isn't much out there on teardowns and things. I've seen one, I think CNET did one, where they heated up the screen to soften the glue, took the screen off, taken off the bottom pad, and got to the charging port there. So because this one's up and running, and obviously the speaker needs sorting, I'm going to leave this one for now. I'm going to concentrate on this one, take this one apart. Ideally, if I can get that one booting up, that would be great, because then I'll have two working ones. If that one boots up and I can keep the speaker in there, I'll leave it. Then we'll have to source an alternative speaker for this. But I've got a couple of ideas. I wouldn't mind doing a total crazy mod, so I only need one for the side of the bed. If I can get two working, we'll mod this one and put a different speaker and everything in there and make it a bit of a project. So let's put this one aside for now. I'm going to unplug it, stick it out the way, and we're going to concentrate on the other one. Cool. What we're going to do, I'm going to heat up this screen this morning. Who needs that? We're going to heat up the screen, heat up the glue on it, see what we can do with that. We're going to need to lift the screen forward. There's a ribbon cable that connects the screen to the main system. And then we're going to heat up, no, we don't need to heat this up, we're just going to peel this off, and there's a couple of torque screws I think underneath here holding the charging connector in place. So let's do that, get it apart, see what we can do. I could risk damaging this, I could risk melting it, I could risk cracking the screen, but it's not a working unit at the moment, so let's take our risk with it and see what we can do. Cool. Okay, so we eventually got it apart. I think it was taking so much heat because it's so cold out here at the moment that, yeah, I was playing around with it, trying to get it sorted. I don't know whether I've done any damage to anything that's up here. Hopefully they're just stickers to hold on. That's the light sensor, and I think these two are the microphones, so I'll need to get these just nice and clear once we put it back together. Hopefully we can get this one powering on, so not too concerned about all of that at the moment. The case, the plastic's quite soft. I didn't scratch it too badly. There's a couple of marks where I put the spudger in, but nothing too bad. This glue is just a nightmare. It's so thick and sticky, which is what you want. It's structural, it's to hold the screen in. I'm going to take this ribbon cable out. There's a piece of tape just behind here, and then there is a little clip for the ribbon cable to come out of. So let's try and do that. Okay, it's a little bit of like Captain tape. There we go. Okay, so there's a little latch at the back of this. Just lifted that up, and then the ribbon cable come out. Cool, so we can put that screen aside and see what we can do with the rest of it now. So next thing for me to do is start taking these torque screws out. They're absolutely tiny. I'll have to find out what size torques they are. There's quite a few in here. One up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 torque screws, and I think this plate then comes off, which is going to reveal all the main board and everything behind it. So let's get on with that and see what we can do and see what's underneath. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to use this piece here, which is a T5 Torx bit in my micro screwdriver, and I think that's going to fit quite nicely. And let's take these out. Okay, so that's all the Torx screws out of the way. I believe this is clipped in to the plastic as well around here, so I think we need to like wedge it out again. We're probably going to need to use a spudger again. I like saying the word spudger, so we'll use them as often as we can. Let's try and get this out. It was trying to lift from this end actually, so let's try and see if this end lifts first. There we go. So we're not going to need to spudger too much, I don't think. I don't know what's behind here. I've never been in one of these before, so I'm going as gentle as I can just not to break anything. See, there is a bit of a clip here. So these are on clips, so there's 1, 2, 3 little clips here holding it into the plastic casing, so I'm going to need to get those to come away somehow. That's 2 done. Okay, there we go, all 3 of them off. I can feel that it's tight and it's connected to a ribbon cable behind there now, so we're going to have to lean it downwards. What is inside? Wow, that's really tight. There's something holding this back. That's the volume or the mute switch. We'll put that aside. Okay, how do I get to this then? Because there's a ribbon cable under here, which I'm guessing is the power one coming from here, which is the one I want to look at. I want to see if that ribbon cable is in tight enough, and if it's not in tight enough, that could be the issue why it's not powering. But at the moment I can't figure out how to drop it open and get to it. It's pretty tight. I think it's stuck in, glued in behind. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's got a bit of glue on it. There we go. So once I freed that glue up, giving us a bit more room to move. There's a speaker connector here, which we're going to need to look at on that other one. Disconnect that. There we go, we've got a bit more room now. There we go. So let's have a look at this. So that connector there, this is the one I wanted to see if this ribbon cable is damaged in any way. That's the one that's going to power from our power board, which is underneath, right the way through to here and then into this connector. So let's take our trusty tweezers, lift up this connector and get this ribbon cable out. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to put this whole main board aside. I'm going to concentrate now. So there's our speaker. This is the first time I've seen inside here. There's our speaker. So if we do want to replace the speaker in the other unit, we're going to have to either snip this off and put a different speaker on there, or we're going to have to get this unit out and get these speakers out. It's only a tiny little speaker. It'd be good to put a bigger speaker on there anyway, but I don't know what this system can handle. Okay, so let's have a look at this ribbon cable. What I want to do is get this power connected out next. So I'm going to take this rubber piece off the bottom. I think there's more screws underneath here to lift out another main board, and then we'll go from there. Cool. Okay, there's our base. And here's our secondary board. So this is our power board. It's got a micro USB on there, which is interesting. So obviously that's a diagnostics connection. I don't think we can power it from that. Maybe let's try it. I wonder if we could do this powered by... No, because it's 14 volts coming in, so I'm guessing it needs more than the 5 volts. So I'm guessing that's just for diagnostics. Otherwise, I'd try and power it from that and see what we got. That would be awesome, wouldn't it, if we could do that? Because if you think about it, the Google Nest Minis, these that we're going to take a look at again, they're powered by micro USB like that. So there's no reason why the main system couldn't be powered by that. But I think the screen is a bit more hungry and it's going to need more than 5 volts. So yeah, I don't think it's worth us trying that, but that's probably a diagnostics and updates connector. There's 2 T5s in there again, I think. Let's get those 2 out and lift this board out. Okay, so there's the power board and there's the ribbon cable going into it, similar to the other end. It looks a little bit creased, so I don't know whether it's been creased in the manufacturing. Let's take it out, see if we can reseat it anyway. We'll reseat everything, and then I'm going to try and power it up outside of the casing, because there's no reason why the casing is functional. It's not a ground, it's not anything else issues with it, so it's a plastic case. So maybe the speaker not connected, but obviously we'll know if we haven't got sound. But let's try and connect all the ribbon cables up, even the screen, and see if we get any power when we connect it up. Cool. Okay, so that's basically our system without a speaker and without a shell. So I'm going to try and power this up now, see if we get anything out of it. It may have been that just a ribbon cable wasn't fully connected, but let's test it out, see what we get to. If it doesn't power off of this, I might see if I can get the power board, because it was just the bottom screws out of this base of the other unit, and then we'll try the power board in here, see if that does anything. Yeah, it's trial and error from this point onwards. Let's see what we get from the power, see if we get any life out of it. No, nothing. Still exactly the same. That's not a problem. This is exactly where we thought we were going to be. So yeah, everything seems to be powering on. There's no lights or anything. Well, everything seems not to be powering on. There's no lights, there's no screen. Obviously there's no sound because we don't have a soundboard connected. Just giving it a bit of a visual inspection, see if anything else could be loose. Okay, so we're not getting any life out of it from just powering up here. I want to just double check some of these voltages here, see if we're getting anything on it. So I'm going to leave it to 20 volts DC, see what the connectors are showing. So where are we looking? Probably that one. And that one. We get anything across there? So we're getting 12 volts there, and it is a 12 volt power supply, not a 14 that it's meant to be. Yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, I think these are probably just ground legs, are they? Yeah. Are we getting anything across this board? Let's see if we can see what happens from here. It doesn't really give much of an indication. Let's try these pads here, see if we can get anything across there. And put the ground on there. Getting 12 volts there. Nothing. Nothing. And 12 volts there. So we're getting 12 volts across those two. Anything coming through any of these pins, do you reckon? Ooh. 12 volts. So there's 12 volts go into that part of the ribbon cable. Dog's barking in the background. Let's turn this. Oh, we got a power and we've got a cracked screen. Oh man, look at the state on that screen. I wonder if I did that taking it out. Oh, it's powering up, but look at the state on it. I don't know what I've done there. I've obviously smashed the screen to bits taking it out. What a fail. But just running that, trying to do a bit of a voltage test across there seems to have brought it into life. So I don't know whether there was some kind of short on this connector. Ah, look at the state on it. I wonder if that was me, because that screen seemed really loose. I'm going to take responsibility for it, and I think you can buy replacement screens for these, so I'm going to have to have a look how much they cost, if it's worthwhile. These aren't expensive units. Worst case scenario, I just take the speaker out of it and put it into the other unit, but yeah, okay, so we're smashed up, we're a bit of a mess on this one, and yeah, we're gonna definitely have to get a new LCD on this. So it's trying to connect to somebody else's, obviously Wi-Fi and setup and things, so I don't know. I did see, and this isn't, I'll try and get some footage of it, I did see it when I was looking at doing the screen. I could see a couple of lines and things behind it, so I don't know whether the screen was cracked before me, but regardless, it's broken now and we need to replace it. So let me have a look how expensive the screens are. If they're stupid money, then we're not going to bother. If they're reasonable price, then maybe we'll swap that out too. Cool. Okay then, so I am going to be working on this one now. So this is the working model with the faulty speaker. Even if I was going to change the speaker, I need to take the screen out because get to the speaker from inside the casing, you can't get to it from underneath. So I'm going to have to risk taking this screen off, hoping that I didn't crack the last one and it was cracked already. I can't see how I cracked it because the digitizer and the front glass was fine, so I think that's had a drop and a knock. But we'll have a look back on the footage, see if there's any cracks and things in there. But let me take this one apart. I'm going to do the same, heat it up, go around it with it, use my spudgers and things, take this screen off, we'll take it apart, and I will test this screen onto the other one to test that one out. If that all works, then I'll see about ordering a replacement screen. If it doesn't, then I don't know, let's maybe take the speaker from the other one into this one, make one good working unit. Okay, so we've got it open. What I want to do now is just test the screen again. So now it's just resting in there. Let's plug him in, see if it works. Perfect. So I don't think I broke that other one. I didn't put enough force on it to bend the screen. I think that other one had been dropped, and not that it wasn't working. I think that it was working, but it was just the screen was so damaged that it wasn't switching on. Because the board behind it was all powering up, it just the screen wasn't turning on. So what I'm going to do, take the power out of this one. I'm going to take this screen a second. Okay, so what I'm going to do is carefully take this bit of tape off. We want that piece of Captain tape out of the way. Stuck on quite tight on this one. There we go. There you go, so that's out of the way. And then we're going to lift this ribbon cable out as well. So if we lift up this tab on the back, and then we can take this screen away. Okay, so that's our working unit with a faulty speaker. This is our faulty setup. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try this screen on that setup. So let's get this apart. This is like stuck back down. That glue's so sticky. That's just from resting on top of it, and it's stuck itself back together. Okay, so if we get this apart, can you believe how tight that was? Okay, so if I get this one off again, that's the faulty screen. This one's the working screen. Let's see if we can get this one powering up with this screen. There you go, so that's that good screen in the other unit now. Let's flip that over, let's plug him in. If this turns on now, I will be amazed and really pleased. So let's see what happens. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Oh, how annoying is that? I thought it was going to work. That's plugged in there, that's on there. No, we're not getting any output. So what did I do last time? I was checking the voltages one night and it switched on. I'm wondering whether there's some short somewhere that when I was checking these voltages it just kicked it into play. Let's try this again. Let's hit that, see if we can get 12 volts. Yeah, there's 11.94, so it's giving out the 12 volts, but I went across this connector and that's what switched it on last time, wasn't it? Whether something wasn't connecting tight enough. Okay, there's the 12 volts, so it's definitely getting power into it. It's still not powering up. I thought the screen might have been the issue. Maybe multiple issues. Okay. Oh well, worth a try. Let's see if we can get the speaker out of the other one. Let's try and get one working unit before we bother getting into the detail of this one. So let's try and get the speaker out of the other one. We'll use this working screen and the other body to get everything up and running. Cool. Okay, let's try and get the speaker out of this one first of all, because that's the one we're going to need to take out. This is the good speaker that we're going to put into the other unit. So let's have a look if we can do that. Hopefully the same size. Yeah, same size Torx screws. Slightly different head on them rather than the thinner profile ones. We'll put these separate. I'm just unscrewing everything now. I don't know what I'm meant to be unscrewing to get the speaker out. I'm just going to unscrew the whole lot, see where we get to. I don't even know whether the speaker's any good. Because it's coming from that faulty unit, I'm just assuming that it's okay. Okay, there's our speaker unit. So this is all part of the faulty unit. I'm going to put them aside so I don't get them mixed up. And this is our good working unit. So let's put that speaker back. I'm going to need to take all of these out like we did before. Let me get that done and I will come back in a second. Okay, so I won't squeeze that in tight yet, but that should be now, if all has gone well, that should be a working screen, working motherboard, and the replacement speaker, whether it's working or not, we're taking it from the other unit. I won't clip it all in. Oh, will I have broken this screen? Will I have damaged something else in the meantime? But let's plug it all in. Yay! So we've got the screen, that's good, and it's powering up. Oh, I'm so relieved to see that. Will we get any decent sound out of this? Okay, so it's loading. Ooh, lovely. So the sound's working nice at the moment, but let's try it out on a couple of tracks where you hear a bit of voice and everything else. Okay, play My Mate Vince on YouTube.
Sure, here's my mate Vince on YouTube.
Hi there, my name's Vince from My Mate Vince, and in this video today we're back to...
Nice and loud, it's working, lovely. So yeah, Vince is running, and it's running on YouTube nice and smooth. These systems aren't the most responsive. They're more of a kitchen unit or a bedside unit than any performance tablet. So don't expect it to be super reactive when you're touching things, but touchscreen's working, volume's working, microphones are working, everything seems to be there now, so I'm really chuffed with that. Yeah, so this is going to be my working unit. I've got the other parts from the other system now. All I've got to do is use some of this double-sided carpet tape now. I'm going to cut thin strips of this, and we'll layer it around the edge, push it back in, and then we've got a nice secure screen, so I can put this back to, I don't know, probably by the side of the bed actually, and use it as my clock and my alarm clock and everything else. So yeah, really chuffed we got one. I'm not finished with the other one yet, but I do need to see if I can get hold of a screen that is a economical swap out for it. I'll have to see how much they cost, where I can get them from, and see if we can get one possibly imported. The other option is I keep an eye out for other faulty units. I don't know whether it's just the screen on that other one, so I'm going to need to keep an eye out for everything. Do we write that other one off? I'll keep it as spares anyway. If I come across another one for a decent price, at least I got spares for a second. But really chuffed to have one, and that's probably all I wanted out of this cost, whether I spent on them anyway. So yeah, let me stick this down, and then we'll do a wrap up at the end. Cool. Okay, so 1 out of 2 ain't too bad. I hope to get both of them up and running, if I'm totally honest, but as soon as I seen the screen was cracked on this one, pretty much game over. So to get the parts out of this one, put them in the other one and get one up and running, I'm pretty chuffed that we've got one out of the two working. So that's up on my bedside table now, and that's going to be my alarm clock and my daily news piece of equipment for the bedroom. This one can go in the spares tin, so if anyone is working on one of these in the future and need any parts, let me know, because I've got some parts spare. I've had a look for screens and they're just really expensive. I had a look on AliExpress and I think they're about £25 for a replacement screen. I paid £12 for the whole unit, so I might keep an eye on eBay for some more faulty listings, see if I come across any more, and I'll order some more, see if we can build another one out of it. But it's getting to the point now where it's getting a bit expensive to even justify spending more money on these. They sell for varying ranges from about £25 upwards, so I've not lost any money at the moment, but if I keep buying parts and I can't make another working unit out of it, then I start getting into that point. So this one will sit on my parts bin. As I said, if anyone else is working on with these and you need a power board or anything else, please let me know. I'm happy to part this out and send out parts to people. But other than that, yeah, really chuffed to have one working. I'm going to keep the Google Home speaker for another video, so if you haven't subscribed already, click the subscription button down below, because I'll do that one in the next couple of weeks. What I'll probably do is take that one apart, and alongside it I'll take apart a working model so I can probe both and see where the voltages are, see if there's any issues, because it's clearly not getting any power at the moment. So let's test that one and work out what's wrong with that system. We'll get that one up and running in the future, I hope. But for now, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below, any questions, anything else, and I'll catch you in the next video. Cool.